So let's open up with Inuzuka. He is pretty much running from the police at any point. Like, they're onto him. Like 100%. They've not kind of like gone, oh, well, we don't really need him anymore, or he's majorly a big plot to this. And it just kind of makes me laugh because they're always after him no matter what. Now, he meets a girl called Aju. She is one of the the main bad guy of this entire series, or this episode, should I say. And she wants his help. She wants Inuzuka's help to actually grab a painting that was made by her her deceased boyfriend, should I say. And it's an interesting, because when it comes near to the end of the episode, you kind of think, oh, okay, all of this could have properly have been kind of done in good ways rather than the hijinks that go on. But I've got to admit, if they didn't, then it would be kind of a boring episode. But I will say that there are some things, as I mentioned from previous episodes, and they talk about Phantom Thieves. And I love Inuzuka when he's like, actually, yeah, Phantom Thieves, more like, that's a TV show. But you hear the kind of like the intros, or you kind of hear sound effects from Lupin Ranger versus Pata Ranger. And I just absolutely love this sort of thing because it throws back to it. And I think when he turns around and says, like, why would you put your name on it? That's not what you're meant to do. I found that funny because it's more like, I can imagine where Iju wants to go, but the way that she wants to go about it was more like, oh, I want people to know who I am. But I love the fact that she also, if she doesn't get Inuzuka's help whatsoever, she starts saying like, oh, hey, there's a fugitive out here. Everyone call the police type thing. And it's her way of saying like, I need your help. Are you going to help me? Or are you just going to be kind of irritating and not? So their kind of team up all the way through is, I think, probably a really nice one. And I think that they gel really well together. So I kind of would love to see her a little bit more. And I will say, like, the monster that she becomes, I think it's a different Sentai. If you know which Sentai it is, let me know down below in the comments. But mainly, I think a Lupin Ranger would have been more ideal for this this entire thing, mainly because they mentioned Phantom Thieves, I think, twice within this episode, and it would make perfect sense. And I don't think so far we've seen Lupin Ranger or Pata Ranger be kind of introduced into a monster form. But yeah, I just think this is an interesting episode for what it is. Now, the main thing is grabbing this painting from her ex-boyfriend, who is called Takio. I think I said that right. But he has made this one last painting before his passing, and it's obviously being auctioned off, and you don't know who by. So I generally thought when I was watching this, like, oh, okay, this is maybe the family are doing this, or someone else is doing it to gain money to do whatever. But we find out it's the assistant later on, and he's a bit of a dick. When Iju transforms into the monster form, I do like the fact that she's not able to attack people. Like, she's about to go for people, but then she stops herself because she's still a very good person, and I don't think that her willingness to hurt people is part of her, so she holds back. And I do like the fact that she's able to hold back this monster form inside her from actually going like, oh, I'm going full monster. So it looks like people can suppress these urges, or they can suppress the anger or whatever is happening, but some people just let it go because it overwhelms them. So it shows that if you've got a strong will, then obviously you can control it, and just therefore you won't transform easily. But when we see later on in the episode, which we'll come up to, she can easily transform. So I think that she's gained control of it, and I think that's a really good kind of point, because if she's able to continue this much later on, I feel like that would be the main issue. Like, it'd be a cool thing to have on their side, so she could transform at any point, so she could help them if there's something majorly happen. Now, I have to admit, everyone in this wants to grab the painting. Kaito wants this because I think that he really likes her, and he's like, I want this art, it's the best thing to put onto my walls. And I love the fact that he's buttering up the other ones. Like, he's buttering up Shinchi as well as Haruka. And he's like, hey, I think the one thing that made me laugh in this is the fact he's like, yes, the cafe has deep pockets, effectively. Or a well-stocked cafe. And I don't know why that just made me laugh. It's just like, I want that painting. Go get it for me, please, because that's what I want. And seeing like Kaito actually kind of express this, I feel like this is a new way of seeing him. But I'm wondering where he got the money from. So has he just like gained it from his parents? Has he worked so hard, or has he just jumped into a reality where he has lots of money? I don't know. Kaito is a very mysterious character, even though that we know about him for an entire year when he was in Zenkaijo. Now, this is the part of the episode where I feel like the flashbacks didn't kind of work that well. So obviously we see Aiju and Taniko, where they're sort of talking about how they're wanting the painting. And I feel like rather than splitting up, because it jumps from flashback to what's happening present time, me personally, I much would have rather they gone like, this is all the flashback in one way, and this is all the bidding stuff. And the painting goes for a lot. It starts bidding for a few million, and then I think the maximum amount is 50 million. But later on, Haruka is like, no, we'll give you 100 million. And it's like, how much money does Kaito have? That's a lot of money. It's a lot of cheese. You could build your own cheese factory for this. But I generally was just like, damn, that's a lot of money for it. With Aiju stealing the painting at the end and transforming quite regularly, it's kind of interesting because she now sets out a plan that she wants to steal the painting from the assistant's house, because there was a mix-up at the copy of the painting went to the auction house rather than actually the real one. So I feel like the assistant's really shady, and I kind of would like to see him come back, mainly because I think that he could have been a monster at the same time. But I do like the fact that Shinji turns around and says like, no, you're not going to steal this, after he's kind of laid a plan. Now, what happens after all of this when they all start fighting again is it kind of links back to the very beginning. It's one of those episodes that is like, how did I, my name's Inuzuka, how did I get myself into this? Find out. And it's all really kind of interesting. I really like the fact, I love the fact that Inuzuka is actually really strong. I also kind of like the fact that nobody knows who he is. And I feel like at the very end of the series, you're going to see who he is. Everyone's going to be like, it was you all along? What? And that's all you're going to see. I wholeheartedly love this sort of stuff because I feel like it's super interesting. When Aiju turns into a giant version of herself after she's been beaten, after there's a lot of fighting, we see the combination between Momotari and Momotaro and all the companions. And I really love the fact that you see the Zords kind of combining. And there's still quite a lot of banter. So Haruka's like, no, I don't want to be a leg. I want to be an arm this time or something. But they all kind of combine into this like Ultra Zord type thing, or the next evolution stage. And I generally really like it because it looks like a really cool thing. And I will give them props. The 3D artwork, the 3D modeling is way better than it was in Zenkaijo. And I feel like they spent a lot of time working on this. So I feel like they knew exactly what we were going to have and how they were going to combine. So they worked on the 3D model to get it really looking amazing. And I like this. It was very hard to tell if they went from, like, say, the normal people, like, the normal props to CGI. And I just generally thought that this was fantastic. It was interesting and it looked brilliant. So I've got to give them a lot of kudos for that, because it generally looks like they've improved themselves like a lot. And I feel like this is what we're going to see. And them also riding a horse. I don't know where that came from, but obviously maybe it's from their sort of side dimension that they've got. At the very end of this episode, they destroy the painting. It's Inuzuka and Aiju, they basically burn the painting. And he's like, why would you do that? And she reveals that this is what Tenko wanted. He wanted the fact that if something happened to him, if he passed on, he wants her to burn the painting. And when you kind of hear all of that, I feel like that should have been the main thing, because I feel like you could easily have like sorted this out really quickly. But then again, we wouldn't have got the entire episode. But I think the best part of this entire episode so far is when Haruka comes back and she gives the painting to the Kaito, and he's like, "Oh my god, you got it!" And it's just her, because they did kind of paint everything, and it's just a really, really bad like painting of her, and she's really happy about it, and he's just like, "Nope, don't want this," and just runs into the back. And I generally was just like, "This is," I don't know why, it just made me laugh. I would love to see that somewhere on the wall sometime. Maybe Kaito's just like, "Fine, we'll have it." But yeah, I generally think this is a fun episode. As I said before, I feel like Donbrothers is the type of like series that doesn't get boring. It doesn't have any boring parts to it just yet, or if it has, they're very minimal. But I love the way that this is going. This is a really fantastic like series to me. I'm enjoying it tremendously, and I can't wait. I'm going to be sad when it ends, but I cannot wait for it. But for that, I am going to leave it there. What did you think about this episode? Have you seen it? Did you skip it? Are you watching Donbrothers? Let me know down below in those comments. And with that, I'm going to leave there. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.
チャンネルをサポートしてくれてありがとうございます。チャンネル登録、高評価お願いします。以下のリンクから商品を入手することができます。